Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm David Nelson. I'm filling in for Steve. You know, we've all seen this very sad story, which is now turning into a happy story, actually. Sarah Murnaghan, 12-year-old girl, been waiting for a lung transplant. She's been denied, originally had been denied the lung because she's only 12 years old, and the only lungs available were from adults. And, you know, one of the things I've noticed about this is that it seems that medicine seems to be advancing faster than the law. To help us better understand this, we're going to speak to Congressman Lou Barletta of Pennsylvania. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us.
Nice to talk to you, David.
Congressman, lay out the issues for us here, because originally denied a lung, and then the Secretary of Health and Human Services didn't appear to be doing anything. What got this thing going, and now she's on the list?
Well, actually, you know, Sarah has cystic fibrosis. She needs a lung transplant, and any transplant, lung transplants, they're put into two categories as they wait for a possible lung donor. One is an adult category, and that is anyone who is 12 or older, and the other one is a pediatric, and that is under 12. Obviously, Sarah is only 10 years old, and she ranked first on the list for a pediatric. And the pediatric for a children's lung. Now, the problem with that is that there are very few donors. In fact, there was only a handful of lung donations last year. So her chances of living were not very good. She has about 3 to 5 weeks to live. Time is running out for Sarah. Her parents had asked that she be allowed to compete in the adult category because her doctors said that an adult lung modified would work for Sarah. And people are ranked in that category by what's called an LAS score. It's a lung allocation score, and they take into consideration the severity of the illness, as well as the survivability of, if you got a lung, what are your chances of surviving with it, and then you are ranked accordingly. Sarah's parents, Sarah was denied because she's not 12 years old. She's only 10. And therefore, the fact that she had 3 weeks to live appealed that to the Secretary of HHS, Kathleen Sebelius, to waive the 12-year-old requirement until they review this policy and let Sarah compete for her life.
Congressman, let me break in there Congressman, let me just break in for a second, because I want to touch on that issue, because as I understand it, obviously I got it wrong. She's not 12 years old, she's 10 years old. But from what I understand, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, had said, or at least was under the impression, that there was nothing that she could do. And now there seems to be evidence coming out that it was within her authority. Which is it?
Well, there is something she can do, and she wasn't being honest about that. She, with the stroke of a pen, could have granted Sarah a waiver and waived and suspended the rule until the policy was reviewed and allow her to compete. Now, Sarah wasn't asking to have special treatment. She wasn't asking to go to the front of the line. She was just asking, could she get in the line? And why would we deny someone? And I asked the Secretary, would we deny somebody an organ based on the color of their skin? She said, of course not. Would we deny somebody an organ based on their gender? No. Then why are we going to let a 10-year-old girl die because she's not 12? It just doesn't make sense.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second, because, and I'm certainly a layman on this, not a medical professional, but as I understand it, at least from what the Secretary was saying, that I guess an adult lung in the past has not worked all that well with a young child. Has medicine changed so drastically that now this is acceptable practice?
Medicine has changed, and this is a glaring insight to what will happen with Obamacare when we allow bureaucrats to make these decisions instead of medical doctors. In fact, her doctors said an adult lung could work for Sarah. It has to be modified, and it has worked on children in the past. And with that being said, that is all calculated, that your chances of survival, whether you're a child or an adult, your chances of survival, and that puts you in the order of receiving a donor. Why should we exclude? Why should we deny children just because of their age a chance to live? It is beyond me. And what Sebelius said to me in that hearing was chilling. She said, "This is agonizing. Unfortunately, some people live and some die."
That was a pretty chilling moment. I caught that on tape as well. But you're talking about Obamacare here. Under Obamacare, would the situation be worse?
Well, I believe it's going to be worse because, of course, you can see how callous that answer was, because we're talking about a life. But the fact is that in Obamacare, there's this IPAP, this independent panel that's going to be making medical decisions. They're not elected, and it's not. You can't appeal. I mean, we shine a big light on this problem, but you cannot appeal under Obamacare, and that's the danger, is that you're going to be having bureaucrats making healthcare decisions when imagine if this was your daughter or son that needed a lung, and basically when you're put in that pediatric category, it's much of a death sentence because of the limited amount of donors. But yet these children could compete with anyone else, and why should they be denied that chance just because of their age? It is incredibly cold.
Congressman, let me weigh in on one more topic here, because I spoke with one of your colleagues, Congressman Scott Garrett, earlier today, and we were talking about Obamacare, and I guess the thing that disturbs me the most, given the revelations that we've seen in Washington with regards to the IRS, and we've also seen the very funny videos, and yes, it's a lot of money that will be that was spent, perhaps foolishly, but I guess the bigger issue for me as a taxpayer is that the IRS is the enforcement arm for Obamacare. I would like your thoughts as well, sir.
Well, remember that was one of the points when we were debating this health care change, is that they were going to hire 16,000 more IRS agents to enforce Obamacare. Again, Nancy Pelosi said it best. They had to pass it for the American people to know what's in it, and the more we know, the more frightening it is.
Wow. Well, it's a lot to learn, a lot to grasp onto, and a lot to understand. But at least for this young girl, for now, she's on the list. Congratulations on the work that you've done, Congressman. Thank